80% of people who want to be coaches never actually get there. They never have a coaching business. They never make more money. They never have more time. They never have more freedom. They never influence the world. I want to talk about the journey, the psychological journey of going it out on your own and depending on yourself for security rather than somebody else. And I think by revealing, by exposing these holes that people fall into, you can avoid them. The emotional journey of starting a coaching business, pivoting your career into a coaching business is pretty predictable. There are really 6 phases of it, and this is what you can expect. The first thing that you can expect is the thought, and this is really the seed that starts your coaching business. It's that things could be better. You are in a job, you are spending way too much time working, and you're not making enough money. Your financial opportunities don't seem very good. The relationships that you are in at work are not great. You're dissatisfied. But let's actually analyze that little psychological drama that's happening. What you're doing is you're failing to believe in yourself to provide for yourself. So if you sell your time to this company, you're putting the security in the company. If you are okay with the amount of money that you're making, you know, you can make your mortgage, you can order Domino's every once in a while. You know that you're going to eat, and you know that you're going to have shelter, even though it's not the house that you want, and it's not the restaurants that you want to eat at, and you're not doing the family vacations that you want. Your boss is a bit of a jerk and inconsistent, and is not developing you or doesn't really believe in you. But my gosh, you can pay the rent. Right, so that's the fear part of it. That's probably the hardest part to get over, or to move. That's going from phase 1 through phase 2 into phase 3 is the hardest part, and I think it's where 95% of people actually get stuck. This is the conversation that I have so very, very often, where it's so incredibly obvious to me that this person can sell their wisdom on the open market for 3 or 4 times what they're currently making, but they're stuck in security. Let me give you an example. We have a nanny who's wonderful. She's really great, and she's getting a little bit older, and our daughter's getting a little bit older, and so she's starting to realize, I've got to move on. And we don't want her to move on. We're good for another year or 2, but she's starting to think, and we're having open conversations about what's next. She doesn't want to be a nanny anymore because she's getting a little older. She also wants kids of her own as she develops in a relationship. And so we talked about what if you just became a house manager for 4 or 5 families. You charge them $30,000 a piece. You do their grocery shopping. You do a little bit of cooking. You handle the bills, you know, so she'd get QuickBooks certified. You would handle the lawn care. You would handle the maintenance, the filters on the air conditioner. You know, let's make a list of 50 things that somebody's not going to have to do or worry about for $30,000. You know, so that's where she's at. She's starting to realize her value, and that is very important. I talked to another guy on the opposite spectrum just this week, early this week. He charges $350,000 a year for his coaching. He will meet with you for 1 hour a month. 1 hour a month, $350,000. And what he said to me was, it's actually not the time, it's the relationships. If you need a chief marketing officer, I'm going to find him or her. If you need somebody to buy your company, I'm probably going to find your buyer. So what he's offering is millions and millions of dollars in return on that 1 hour a month. He's offering his relationships. So there's practical work that I'm going to do that costs you too much to do it, that's worth something. There's wisdom, that's worth something. There's experience, that's worth something. There are relationships, that's worth something. So psychological phase number 2 is when you begin realizing what you are worth. And that's when you start getting a little confidence that you can actually do this. That leads you to psychological state number 3, which is automatically you're going to go to worst case scenario. You're going to go, but my wisdom's not worth something, or nobody's going to pay for it, or there's not enough families who, you know, can afford a house manager, and that is the second place that I think most people get shut down. And when I talk about most people, I'm talking about if you got 100 people who absolutely, I know, could make $1 million a year in coaching, we've lost 80 of them. We lost 80 of them in the desire for security and the fear that comes with worst case scenario. And all of them would have succeeded, I'm convinced, all of them. So 80 of them are going to get a $150,000 salary rather than $1 million. And they're going to do it because of fear and worst case scenario. Fear of worst case scenario, or fear that they're too tied to their current security, which is less than what they deserve. So if we can get through that, that's great. But it's number 3 is, I'm not going to be able to pay my bills. It's all about security, folks. It's just all about security. And here's how you get around that. I want you to actually add up what you really need every month. Add up what you really need every month. If it's $10,000, $25,000, whatever that is to feed your family, add that up and come up with a number. And this is what you need to make. The next thing that you want to do is you move into phase 4. By the way, adding up that number is going to make it, you're going to realize pretty quick, wait, I'm not actually afraid of that much. This is not a scary number. And so you want to move into psychological stage number 4. And that is taking all that wisdom, that knowledge, that work that you're willing to do that nobody else is willing to do, and turn it into fictional products. You're not launching a company yet. But what you're actually saying is, what am I going to sell if I do? For instance, our nanny, she can put together a list of, 50 things. It should not be very hard. 50 things that most people do to manage their home and kind of manage their lives. Grocery shopping, some cooking, managing the lawn care, doing the laundry, all that kind of stuff. 50 things that she can do for 5 different families 1 day a week. So she's only with this family on Monday, the next family on Tuesday, and she's got to find 5 families who are going to pay her 30 grand. Do the math. That's pretty darn good money. And then now she has an offer. And what you want to do is you want to actually add all those things up. If it's the wisdom that you offer, it's wisdom about what? And when you think about it in this way, that offer is, you have a problem, I have a solution. So her 50 things on that 1-page or 2-page list are all problems that you have. You have a problem getting to your laundry. You have a problem cleaning out the garage every year. You have there are annual things. There are quarterly things that need to be done around the house. There's an annual assessment of the house itself, all the maintenance that would need to be done on it. There might even be picking up kids from school on that one day that you can do it. So so the parents don't have to do that. Whatever that is, what problem does my client have and how can I solve it? What ignorance or lack of knowledge does my client have, and how much wisdom do I have that I can help them through that? Then you start getting over those fears, because you realize, wow, my knowledge or my experience or my relationships or my willingness to do work nobody else wants to do is actually significant. This is a really good offer. Then phase number 5 is you're actually starting to build a business. And phase number 5, now you haven't left your job, you still got your existing security. But phase number 5 is when you put together a 1-page offer. Not a website, not a landing page, not lead generators, not a CRM, all stuff you need to do. It's in this book, this is what you need to do, but we're not there yet. I want you to put it all down on a 1-pager. Your 1-page offer and a fee. This is what I'm going to charge 30 grand a year for this. I'm going to charge $150,000 for this. By the way, I know plenty of coaches who charge over $100,000 a year to be involved in their mastermind. It's like 6, 7 people, but they have the relationships and the wisdom that you can make $1 million off of that. So I'm going to pay the person 100 grand because I get $900,000 in return. So, but you need it all on 1 page, okay? And then what I want you to do, this is also phase 5, is I want you to identify the clients. Identify the clients. Who, by name. Jim might buy my services. Nancy might buy my services. Now, you're not going to them yet, but they might buy my services. Then I would actually, and this is moving into 5.5, you're building the business, buy them lunch. buy them lunch and show them the page and just say, I'm wondering, you're the perfect client for this. I'm wondering if this is viable. Do I have a business opportunity? At this point, you're seeking advice from the client, the hopeful client. You don't really want to do that if you have a business, because it feels like begging. But you're still in need of security. You're looking for your first client. I would do that with a few people until one of them says, actually, I would pay for this, and I will pay for this, by the way. You haven't even left your day job yet, but you have your offer on a piece of paper, and that is going to give you confidence. And that's what we're looking for here. We're looking for, in my opinion, the obvious. You can make money doing this, because you're realizing what I know about you, and that is your wisdom is worth a lot. So it's all about that one-page offer and getting that down. Then you leave your job and you're making great money, and you realize you need 2 or 3 or 50 clients, new clients a year if you have a $1,000 offer, $2,000 offer, something like that. And you're starting to build your business. And at that point, that's when this comes in, by the way. You need a landing page, you need a menu of products, you need a CRM with emails, you need a community of other coaches, all the stuff that we provide at Coach Builder. Then it goes into phase number 6. You are making a lot of money, maybe $1 million. There's plenty of coaches who do. Phase number 6 is regret. And regret not that you did it, but regret that you didn't do it sooner. All right, so what do you do with all this? You do a couple things. You identify where you are in the journey. If you're in the place where you're longing for security, or you're worried to give up the existing security that you have, you start realizing how much wisdom you have, what it's worth, and you put together your one-pager. So those are the 6, phases, psychological phases of pivoting a career into a coaching business. And you can identify which one you're in. But if you're in one is where everybody gets stuck. They get hooked on that security. It's like being in an abusive relationship, man. Get out of it. Get out of it. You're worth more than that. And then you move into, wait, what do I actually have to offer? Then you put it in a one-pager. Then you sit down across from somebody at lunch and say, hey, I'm thinking about starting a business. Do you think this is viable? Would you pay for this? And you're going to get some people who say yes, and then you're off to the races. And that is my wish for you. So that is the emotional, psychological journey of somebody, almost everybody who starts some form of coaching business, or even just an individual sole proprietor selling their services, selling their wisdom. It doesn't have to be a coaching business, but that's the journey. That's the journey they all take. And I wish you the best on yours. Let's get to the end. And let's also not get to the end 10 years from now so that you have even more regret on not having done it. We can practically help you with that first of all, in my book, Coach Builder. If you've not bought the book, make sure to grab the book. It's going to walk you through how to create a menu of products. That's going to give you a lot of confidence. We also have the Coach Builder community. It's a membership community you join. And we have small group leaders who can actually help you brainstorm what sort of products you would sell, encourage you to get that landing page, get that one-pager up and running. And I don't know how many stories, dozens and dozens and dozens and maybe hundreds of stories of people who made back their money in the first 90 days. Another practical thing that you can do right now, hit the subscribe button. I make tons of content for coaches. The more you hear about the idea of running a coaching business, the less crazy it's going to seem, and pretty soon you're going to be a coach.